Hi friends, it's Sarah from rufflesandrainboots.com, and today I'm sharing how to join fur into patterns and shapes. I'll share this guy tomorrow. He's made with a heart beard, but if you'd like to learn the technique, stick around. As always, please like this video so I know you're here crafting. Thanks for being here. I shared already how to join the same color of fur, even in wonky shapes, so that it's seamless. And today I want to share how to make non-color transferring patterns and shapes inside of your faux fur. So you can see here, this is a heart and it produces a heart. And the reason I'm sharing this now as opposed to later is because I see a lot of chatter in my gnomes group as well as others about coloring fur. Even permanent marker will transfer after a while. And so the only safe way to make sure we don't have color transfer issues is to use a set color, as in manufactured faux fur. So I'm also going to share how to make patterns like this, either small or large, but I also want you to keep in mind one thing, and it's called shape warp. So if you make a beard and you've got this beautiful shape or pattern and then you wrap it around a cylindrical item, it's going to change the shape or change the look. So when you're creating these things that are absolutely solid and will not come apart, just keep that in mind. Today I'm going to be using fur, an X-Acto knife. I'm going to be using two different color pens so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to be using a detailed tip glue gun and a finger protector for hot glue. So to get started, I just want to say you don't have to worry about combining different shapes, types, colors. If you want pastels and neons, combine pastels and neons. No one should tell you that there are rules with regard to any of this. So today I'm just going to be using a blonde and a black in a gorilla fur. This is a hot mess piece of fur. This has a 2.5-inch selvage. It has some really bad knots and pills. And then at the bottom, the machine cut this. This is a first cut off the bolt, and it's just like a gorilla gave itself a haircut. So our first step we're going to do is just brush out the fur. We're doing this so that we can see everything, there's no knots, and nothing will snag. Second thing is we're going to cut the beard or the shape. Now if you're doing a really large piece of fur with a pattern like this, do the entire pattern and then cut. But for this, I'm just going to cut my beard out. And you can see there is no fur transfer. I'm using a weighted X-Acto brand knife, and I'm just scoring the back. This allows us to create any shape we need, circular or, bent. We can create straight lines, angles. All of it is just scoring the back. We're not cutting. That cutting board you see is for liability purposes. You never cut to that, right? You're never cutting through the fur that's hanging down. So here you can see I'm just going to rip it right out, and there you are. No shedding. We're easy, right? That's going to be our beard. Second piece over here. Again, it looks so bad. It's like you know how toddlers will give themselves haircuts like their bangs? I don't know if you gave a pair of scissors to a gorilla, I don't know, it may work. But my point here is I'm just going to be using a sort of random middle section because of the quality of this cut, not because I want you to waste fur. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a 1/2-inch round right over here in white pen. Then in my fur block, which is my beard, I'm going to create a smaller than 1/2-inch circle. That's it. You're an expert now. So we want the fur block to be a smaller piece than the fur insert, okay? So we want the insert is the larger in the black, and the block is the smaller in the blonde. So all I'm going to do, none of this is edited, okay? So I want you to make sure that you understand this is real time. Anything, I will show you if I speed it up and make it obvious. But all I'm doing here is cutting the fabric backing. You can see it. It looks like a knit. All you're doing is cutting those individual strings. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm not cutting the fur. I'm not even pressing down. I'm just pressing like the knife into the side. And you can see here, I have almost all of it up, put down the knife and rip it out. Ready? Boop. There you go. I'm going to stick my finger through the hole so you can see, there's no trickery. We're going to pull all of the fur away. And that's going to do two things. Number one, it's going to prep for insert, and it's also going to share if we have any of these strings. Go ahead and cut those off. Don't pull them because you could unravel, but we just want to cut those off because I'm using black and it will definitely show through. All right, so get that out of the way, and we can actually set this piece aside because it's now ready. moving over to our black piece, I'm going to speed up the cutting a little bit, just so you don't have to watch me, because I do actually take my time, especially on anything that's round. You saw how quickly I cut the beard, but on this, I'm actually going to take my time. So you can see I'm just going to cut that last one and then pull it right out, right? And then stick my finger through so you can see there's no trickery. Oops, the blonde is on there. Let's get that off. Now we take our little piece here, press it through the front. So the two fabric backings are facing us, and we're making sure all of the fur block is out of the way. Press that right through the center, and then you're going to have fur backing to fur backing and fur pile to fur pile. And then you just take your hot glue gun and go on the insert. So on the blonde one, you're just putting a little bit of hot glue all the way around, and then you'll be pressing down. Hopefully not with your fingers, because I just burned myself there. But you're going to be pressing down that top piece, that fur insert, right onto the fur backing. Now, it's not going to look like you just glued fur to fur, because the idea is that you're gluing the fur backing to the fur backing. So you can see here, it came through, and let me just brush it out. Oops. Let me hold it and brush it out, and you can see it looks seamless. So we're doing this a lot in the gnome groups with coloring, with markers, with alcohol inks, which I have shared even how to color it using acrylics. But I just wanted to say, if you're selling or doing charity work, it's a really good idea to make sure you don't have any color transfer. So if you are making a pattern like this, I want to show you, I'm going to make one circle the same size as we did before, and the second one bigger. Okay, so the reason I'm showing you this is if you're making a pattern, you do want to make a stencil, because even small changes will actually show up in the front of the fur, and you can brush them and style them away, but just give you an idea, when you're creating a pattern in your head, just make sure you've got a stencil, something you can recreate. Another thing you want to do is make sure that you have at least about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch around, because you're going to be stretching the fur, and we want to make sure that we don't stretch it out of shape, but also that we have enough of the backing that the piece can adhere to. So I'm just basically following the steps here, making sure the pile of the fur is going in the same direction. So the insert and the block are both going in the same direction. I'm adding hot glue around this edge and then pressing it all down with my little face mask spatula. And so this one is the larger one. So you can see it's a larger piece in the black and a larger hole in the blonde. And now I'm just going to repeat that. And it's going to show when I turn this and brush it. So you'll see here, making sure I don't cut or don't glue myself to the fur. All right, so let's brush this out. And you can see here, definitely a difference in the sizes. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Kind of looks like an owl face to me. All right, so now for shapes. You can successfully cut hearts, stars, crescents, stripes, both vertical and horizontal. You just have to make sure you have enough of that fabric backing to support the new piece of whatever you're putting in there. So here I'm actually going to just create a heart. And you'll see me, I actually create 2 hearts because the divot of the heart needs to be deeper than you think. So the little part in the center needs to have a bigger indentation. And the reason is because, number one, your nose is going to be somewhere. But number 2, we need to really delineate those edges of things for it to come through in the pattern. So what I'm going to do is just trace my shape as is, the way I want it to look on the front of the beard. I'm going to trace that onto this white fur in black. And then I'm going to be using this color swatch from fabric.com. If you're new here, I am a huge fan of buying different colors or weird textures in swatches, as opposed to having to go to the craft store and buy an 1/8 of a yard or 1/4 of a yard. So what I did was I traced the heart onto the back, and then I'm adding an 1/8 of an inch all the way around, because again, my fur insert needs to be bigger than my fur block. So you'll see I cut off a little couple of shards. You'll see them over on the edge there. That is because I am too close to that left side. So I have to cut it off in tiny little pieces. You see them coming? So I'll just trim that up. You see all that over there? I had to cut little pieces off. I don't like wasting fur, and that's why I did that. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to cut out that center block here in the fur block itself. And now you see I have an outer edge, so that's a huge piece of fur I'll use later. But you see I have an outer edge. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm brushing all the fur on the front away from that hole. That's all. And then I'm going to snip that off. So this is unedited, so to make sure no one thought there was any trickery, so you have to watch me cut off these little errant strings. All right, so now it's fur backing to fur backing and fur pile to fur pile, so just pop that in. And I will say, if you push it too far, you can pull it out a little like I'm doing right there, but honestly, it's a little easier and faster if you just pull it all the way through and then start again. And that way you're not wanting to glue any fur, right? Again, you're just wanting to glue that fabric backing. So when you have the bigger insert piece, it's going to push that fur away from the edge, allowing us to glue the fabric backing. Now, if you do get a little fur, don't worry about it. It's not going to show through in the front. All right, so have a little obsessive crafting disorder here whilst I get it absolutely perfect, and you had to watch that. But I'm just going to do the same exact thing we did with the pattern, add a little bit of hot glue, use my face spatula thingy, and press it down along the edges all the way around. So you see up at the very, very top, that fabric backing of the tip of the heart goes right to the edge. Now I'm going to make sure I cover that with the gnome, but just to let you know, you don't want anything sticking out. So when you brush it out, you can see there is the heart, and you can see, again, what looks like an owl face to me. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you'll try this technique, and as always, share this in all the crafting groups, right? All right, thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe for more crafty fun.